Yeah, Blash, today it looked like you took another step forward as far as your cohesiveness as a team goes. I'm just wondering how you saw things today.
Sorry, the end of the question panned off. Can you ask it again?
Yeah, I was just saying you looked a little more cohesive today and took another step forward. I'm just wondering how things look from your perspective.
I thought the first half of the game, first off, I thought we competed hard. So that's, to a pretty good level. We got to keep competing at that really, really high level. I thought the first part of the game we played real good. I don't think they were necessarily probably playing to the top of their game in the first, but I thought we were skating really good. I thought the second half of the game they seemed to find their legs and it skated us a little bit. I thought as the game went along, so we got to be better as the game went along. We probably in the second part of that game, or the second period, I should say, we turned too many pucks over. We stopped getting it in behind them, and so then we had to defend a little bit more. But we certainly had our chances. We 2 games in a row, we've given up too many chances, though. We've created, which I'm happy with, but we got to make sure we limit a number of those chances against.
With Adam Ernie and Robbie Fabry going into COVID protocol today, can you just walk us through how all that took place and what went into your lineup decisions as far as Rass off the taxi squad and Nielsen coming back and what went into that decision making?
I found out this morning, early in the morning, that they were going to be in COVID protocol. And so at that point, for me, that was the decision that we had already kind of had in our mind. We had already talked about the what ifs as we go through this. And so, we had Niels going in and Rass going in. I thought Rass had a really good scrimmage and then a solid scrimmage. The first one wasn't as good, but I thought he'd done a decent job through camp. And so then it was a little bit of decision of who to put at center and where to put everybody on their lines. The one thing Rass has done is played center throughout the whole camp. I think ultimately Vladdy Nemestikov is a guy who, I think is going to play some center for us, but he hadn't really practiced center at all and didn't feel super comfortable jumping in just late notice. So we'll see how the lineup looks tomorrow, but that was what went into the decision.
Next question from Helene St. James, the Detroit Free Press.
Jeff, can you just clarify, once a player goes onto COVID protocol, is there a minimum amount of time he has to be on there?
In terms of what do you mean? I'm not following the question.
Well, just like, is there a minimum amount of time he can't be around the team, or?
The protocols, I don't really want to dive into. You'd have to talk with the NHL about exactly what their process is. There's a minimum amount of time for sure. There's a process that they have to go through. So, beyond that, I don't really want to discuss it further than that.
And just with Bobby Ryan, how much does it maybe especially help to have such a smart veteran when you're putting him out with two fairly young guys, like in Sedina and Rasmussen?
Yeah, I mean, that was a comfort level, knowing that he could help them a little bit and walk them through some stuff. And so I thought there was a comfort level in that for sure. He helps all our young players, I think. Our veterans have done a real good job of leading by example and also just good discussions. And Bobby's a guy who our guys respect a lot, and he's skating real good. So, I think the biggest thing for Bobby is making sure first and foremost he takes care of his own game, and I think he's done a good job of that. I think he's skating at a real good level. I think he's in real good shape, and I think he feels good about where he's at.
And lastly, how would you evaluate the power play so far through 3 games?
We haven't had lots of them. We've certainly had some chances. I don't think our entry's been nearly good enough. I mean, ultimately, the results haven't been good enough. The Gagne, Hronek on the one flank unit has created multiple chances where we need to make sure against pressure kills like Carolina did that we score when we get those, and we had some looks today. So how would I evaluate it from a process standpoint? Okay. From a results standpoint, not good enough. Certainly entries is an area we got to be better.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Next up, Max Boltman from The Athletic.
Hey, Jeff, it looked like Hronek was on both of those units today. Is that kind of something you'd like to stick with based on what you saw so far and how he held up there?
There's some concern with it because it's not easy if you're not in the zone a long time. When that's been done before. There's other guys throughout the league, and certainly since, in Detroit where a guy would stay on the unit for a long time, or stay on both units, but it all depends a little bit if you can stay in the zone or if you're kind of going constantly back on the breakout. So, it's something that we looked at. I really like him on the flank where he's been since the beginning of the year. He's certainly a solid guy up top too. And so, he's been, in my opinion, our best power play D-men. And so we're just trying to get him out there as much as we can.
Thank you.
Next up, Ted Colfin from the Detroit News.
Hey, Jeff, I was just curious, what was your take on those 2 Columbus goals in the third? Were there those breakdowns on your guys' part, or what happened there?
Yeah, ultimately on the wraparound goal, we had numbers. We put a puck up the wall, it hit the linesman, and it was, we should have had a little bit better support and faced the puck. It hit the linesman, they came back at us. It was a 3-on-3, and we just kind of got beat a little bit. And then, in the wraparound, we didn't meet him on the other side of the post. And then the breakaway, the Dubois breakaway, it was just a little bit of a breakdown. So, again, I thought overall, they had a penalty shot, a breakaway and a penalty shot. They had a breakaway there in the second. They had too many outnumbered rushes. They had the breakaway in the third, the score on. We got to be better. We can't give up those kind of rush chances against. We got to be better from a multitude of areas, including line change, our forwards recognizing when the D are down, and covering for them.
Thanks, Jeff.
Last question today from Ansar Khan with M Live.
Jeff, to go from 14 shots the first game to 37 tonight, I'm sure you're pleased with that. Attribute a lot of that just to being better in the face-off circle and just resulting in more zone time.
Well, I thought the second 2 games here, we've created more chances for sure. I worry way more about chances and really the grade A's and the B chances more than I worry about shot totals. I think shot totals can be misleading. But I think we certainly have created more A's and B's over the last couple games than we did the first game. We've also given more up. So we got to keep working to minimize the ones against and maximize the ones for. But I think, I think our competition level has been higher, and that's certainly shown on the face-off circle. I think part of the reason we're better in the face-off circle, a huge part of the reason was that our competition level has been way higher. So, that's something that we're going to continue to make sure that we try to do a real good job of. So we have had the puck a little bit more, but overall we've been more dangerous offensively. Unfortunately, we've been more dangerous defensively too. So we just got to keep working at that balance of creating offense without giving much up.
Thanks.
That's it for us today. Thanks, everyone.